Grab a hula hoop and fairy lights to make this outdoor display. So I'm going to start by spray painting them black. I opted for this really long strand of lights from Dollar Tree. It's on a wire, so it's really easy to wrap around the hula hoop. I'm going to hang these in my gazebo to add a little light. I'm using zip ties to attach these to the rail along the top of my gazebo.
Take a hula hoop and some fairy lights. With a hot glue gun and the twinkle lights, create icicles with each strand and glue them to the hula hoop. Grab a garland and some other greenery from Dollar Tree and begin hot gluing them to the top and around the circumference of the hula hoop. Take macrame cord or rope and hot glue 4 strands of the same length around the hula hoop. Knot them together at the top and add more rope to hang.
Head down to Five Below and grab you one of them inexpensive rugs. But first, why don't we grab some hula hoops? We're gonna need to spray paint those your favorite color. Once you give that some time to dry, bring it on inside. Set your hula hoop down and we need 2 pieces of board. I'm going to mark it exactly where I want to cut it on the hula hoop. Once we got those cut, bring them back inside. We've got to put some hot glue down, just temporary, to hold the wood in place on the bottom hula hoop. Go ahead and place the top one on. You're going to make sure it's matched perfectly to the one on the bottom. Pre-drill it and use a screw that will go through the hula hoop into the wood. Once we do that, let's lay that rug out that we got at Five Below. We're going to take the hula hoop and lay it out on there. Take a black marker and go ahead and mark around the hula hoop. We want to cut it right down that black marker, lay it out, and again, it's time to grab that hot glue. We're going to go ahead and put this down. It's going to tack it down for us. And then it's time to go ahead on the front and put some hooks on.
Here we have a child's hula hoop that we picked up at the dollar store. So in order to secure our flowers, we're going to have to work in a pool noodle. And all we're going to do is cut through one side of the pool noodle. So what we're going to do is open it up and work it right inside the hula hoop. And we're going to circulate the pool noodle all the way around. So once you get all the way around, you're going to notice that we have a little spot missing. We're going to cut into a second pool noodle and do the same exact process. We can just take some tape and we're going to secure the 2 pieces together. Now I just have some white satin ribbon. To secure it, I'm going to use a couple floral pins and I'm going to add some hot glue to the ends to really make sure it's nice and permanent. Now what we can do is start wrapping this. Now it's time to enhance this, and all we're going to do is snip off each individual stem. I added a generous amount of hot glue, and all we're going to do is just lift up the ribbon and poke it right in. Up next, we have some dogwood flowers. Now I have this hanging foliage, so we're going to take it, add a little bit of hot glue, just working it underneath the ribbon. To hang this up, I'm going to use some of our wire.
I'm laying down 6 21-inch hula hoops on some butcher block paper. Each hoop is getting spray painted in black. I applied several coats to ensure all areas were well covered. I'm going to join 4 hoops to the first hoop, attaching evenly on all 4 sides. I'm attaching the first hoop loosely with a black zip tie. 3 more hula hoops are being attached to the first hula hoop, creating an even pattern of 5. A 6th hula hoop is being placed on top of an exterior hula hoop and attached with a zip tie on its left side only. Each hula hoop on each side is being positioned vertically, then attached to the top hoop to create a cube shape. I'm attaching some lightweight twine to one side of the top hula hoop with double knots. I'm stringing the twine across the top hula hoop in random places to create a spiderweb effect. Keeping the twine as tight as possible is the key. Now I'm positioning the wood round onto the twine.
Grab a pool noodle and a hula hoop for this front porch decoration. I'm going to use a utility knife to slice the pool noodle vertically. This is going to allow me to open up the pool noodle and slip it around the hula hoop. I'm going to need about 1.5 noodles to cover this hula hoop. Now I'm going to grab some duct tape and just secure the pieces together. So I'm going to grab some burlap ribbon and just wrap it around the pool noodle. Now that this is all covered in burlap, I've got these little pockets created. This is going to help me place some greenery on here nice and easy. I have these big stems and I can tuck these into the folds of the burlap. Now I'm just going to grab some floral wire and secure this. For a little ambiance, I'm going to wrap some fairy lights all around and intertwine them within the leaves. I've got a plastic planter that's filled with some rocks on the bottom. I'm going to put a paint stick in here just to kind of hold it up a little bit. So I'm going to use a few zip ties to secure the wreath that I just made to the planter.
What I did was I laid out some cardboard, spray painted it a couple of times to make both boards the exact same length. You're gonna take your first hula hoop that's already painted, and you're gonna set it on top of the boards. Then what we're gonna do is drill through all 4 corners here. You're gonna put one of your hooks in with it. Make sure it's facing up and you'll screw it through it. We're gonna do the same thing over here. Now what we're gonna do is turn it around and do the other side. We're gonna take a little bit of dab of glue right next to the screw, take the rope and just gently wrap it around the loop.
You're not going to believe what I did with mini lights and a hula hoop. I spray painted one side of the hula hoop green, I let it dry, flipped it over, and spray painted the other side. Once dry, I used a green zip tie to attach faux vine greenery to the hula hoop. Next, I tied jute around the hula hoop and strung it across the hoop to the other side. I wrapped it around a couple of times and then strung it back and tied it where I started. I did this 3 more times, evenly dividing the sections of where I tied the jute and crossing at the same spot in the center. With each of the long ends, I tied them to either side of the ring of the mason jar. Next, I glued jute weaving around the battery pack of mini string lights, wrapped the lights around, and then I stuffed it in each mason jar. I attached the mason jars to the ring and hung it all up.
Just what I need for my latest project, hula hoops. Take some metallic paint that's made for plastics. I'm going to paint these gold. Now you're going to want to get some kind of a clear sealer spray with a light coat of the glaze. Right here, we're going to drill a hole in each side. I'm going to put one hoop inside the other and try and line up my holes where I have drilled. And I'm going to go outside and push all the way through, and then I'm going to push it through the next one. So I have it through 2 hoops. There we go. I have it through all 3, and then before it slips back off, I'm going to put a nut on that. And when I paint these, this will get painted also. I'm going to take a dollar store decorative cake tray and put a small hole in it. It's on high temperature, and I'm just going to put it right in the middle of there. And that is probably all we need. And now I'm going to try and put this right over top of that. Take some Gorilla Clear Grip contact adhesive to secure the plate right here to my hula hoop. And I'm going to put a generous amount wherever these hoops meet. I have just hung it from my garage door with some wire. So now I can go to work on the easy part. The construction of this was the hard part.
I grabbed this big hula hoop from Five Below. So I'm gonna take this first one, place it there. We're gonna do the same thing to a second one, and we're gonna place this in an opposite motion. We're gonna place this on either end again. Just take our zip tie, and we're gonna keep the pointy end towards the surface. We're gonna just snip off our ribbon, and now it's time to create the main portion of our bow. So this is non-wired ribbon. It is a little bit different to use, as it doesn't hold its shape, but after making about 3 to 5 loops on either side, we're gonna have the perfect bow, and that is good enough for me. Let's finish our final loop. To secure our bow, we're gonna use a piece of wire. Take our tails that we pre-cut and just tuck them underneath our bow. Twist it secure. We can just secure that right on top of the zip tie and tie that wire together. We're gonna just lift up the greenery we've already worked in, tuck it underneath, and use another zip tie to keep that in place.
I went to the store and grabbed some hula hoops along with black matte spray paint. I took the hoops out to my garden and decided to attach them to my house using small poultry staples. I then slipped a piece of pipe cleaner through the hole and attached the hoop, twisting the ends together. I used black electrical tape to join the hoops together. To attach the plant, I carefully moved each stem, bundling some together and following the curve of the hoop.
Ran down to the dollar store and picked up some pool noodles. I cut them in half lengthwise. I made sure to cut the pool noodles to the length of the bench seat, and I secured it in place using a staple gun. At this point, I also added some fabric. I chose outdoor fabric because I knew that my bench was going outdoors. I secured this in place as closely as I could to the bottom of the pool noodle, put the fabric over that piece, and secured that piece again. And I continued this pattern of noodle fabric so that I could create tufted channels, and the fabric would look like it goes all the way down in between the different pool noodle pieces. When I got to the end of the bench, I again took that last piece of pool noodle, wrapped it around the back edge of the wood, and secured it in place. Now I needed to add the legs. I had ordered these legs off of Amazon. All I had to do was secure them in place using the screws that came in the box.
Today's project starts with a pool noodle. We're going to take a piece of duct tape and use that to hold it in place. Once we got our 3 rings together, we're going to stack them up. Once I get that, I'm going to cut some more pool noodles and they're going to stack inside. We need them to be level with the top. Start on the outside and work your way to the end. Now you're going to start on one end and go ahead and slice your tape and put it on the bottom. Go across the 3 pool noodles, across the top, down the bottom. We're actually going to need to cover the whole thing in duct tape because we're going to need to apply some hot glue to it. And then right in the middle, I'm going to put a first dab of hot glue. I'm going to take this rope right here, this cotton rope, and go ahead and put it on there.
The next time you're at Dollar Tree, grab yourself some of their succulent picks. Also going to want to grab some of their foam pool noodles. I decided I wanted to paint my frame. Flip the frame over. I'm going to use the pool noodle as a measuring guide, and then I'm going to cut it exactly so it fits in the little ledge of the frame. And then I'm going to cut the pool noodle directly in half. I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to glue just the edges of the frame and the edges of the pool noodle, and I'm going to place the pool noodle into the frame, but making sure that the curved side is going to be facing out. Then once it's fully set, I'm going to come in here and create my own little backings. And then just to make the back a little prettier, I have this green fabric that I'm just going to lay over top, and then I'm going to take a stapler and I'm going to staple it around. I'm going to start with some moss. So I have some reindeer moss here. I'm going to come in with the succulent picks that I picked up from the dollar store, add a bit of hot glue to the edge, and then I'm going to work them in.
Gonna go right down the center and just cut them in half so that I have that flat edge to go flush against the board. Space the noodles out with a little bit of spacing in between, and then attach them also with the staple gun for some added stability. I worked in sections of about 4 at a time, sprayed a little bit of spray adhesive on, and then just kind of used my hands to firmly work the leather into the channels. I trimmed the edge at the corner and then just tucked it over and secured it tightly with a little bit of spray adhesive and then also more of the staples. Once that corner was secure, I just worked my way down.
Today we're working with pool noodles. First, you want to cut the pool noodle in half to slit them right down the center. And then we're going to fold our noodle open. So I'm going to cut this all the way through. And then I'm going to turn these upside down. So I'm going to put my glue. This is cool melt, so it's not super, super hot. And then you're going to place that. Okay, so now I'm attaching the second piece and we will insert our third piece. Okay, our glue is dry. So now I'm going to trim off the ends. We are now going to put a tray on here and we're going to decorate it.
Head over to your local Walmart and grab a few sprigs of greenery. I place the pool noodle next to the top of the planter and mark the lines. Then I cut the pool noodle with a knife to the mark. After that, I place the pool noodle pieces along with some empty water bottles inside the planter to keep everything in the center and weighted down. Then I placed the sprigs of faux greenery inside the holes of the pool noodles and fluffed it all out.
Cut 2-inch sections of our pool noodle. We're going to have 1 in the center and 6 around the outside. And we're going to place it on the top. You want to cut all the way around. Cut that small piece out of my noodle. And then your candle will fit in there just like this. Now I'm going to connect them. I'm using a hot glue gun, but it is on a low temperature. I have a big rubber band in my hand, and I'm going to put that around here and let this dry.
So here's the big secret. Every pool noodle has a hole in it. So I'm gonna stick the pool noodle onto the faucet like this. Next, I take the other end of the pool noodle and I hold it down so that it aims in the center of the bucket. I turn the water on slowly and I just wait to fill the bucket to the level I want. Now, how easy is this? Now I'm ready to get mopping. Now, a lot of people have trouble with drafts coming in under doors. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take a pool noodle and I'm gonna measure my door. What I picked up was a pillowcase from the dollar store. I'm gonna take this pool noodle, stick it inside. I'm gonna lay it back down on the table so it's nice and flat. I'm gonna go ahead and just wind it. So I'm gonna put a little dab of hot glue here, and then I'm just gonna run this along the edge.
So this end is open because this is the top of the pillowcase. So all I'm gonna do is stick the pillowcase into the hole. Velcro adhesive. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel off the adhesive and I'm gonna place it. Now I have peeled the backing off and I'm going to stick it to the door. Here it is on the door, and I can still open and close the door with ease. So what I've got here is a pool noodle from an old project that's already cut. And then what I need to do from here is just take a pen or a pencil or marker and just kind of mark where this spot is. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a slit into about half of the pool noodle. Next, I'm gonna flip the noodle over, and I've got these great little picture holder strips, and you're gonna wanna put it on the back side of where each of these are. So I start by peeling the backing off. And now I stick and press it on the wall, and I need to wait 30 seconds at minimum. I just open the pool noodle like so, and I stick my broom handle inside. Here they are all hung up, and I'm just absolutely thrilled with how easy this was and how it turned out.
grab a glass bowl from the dollar store. I'm going to place it upside down on a wood round. Then I'm going to surround the bowl with wood beads. I found these strings of beads at the dollar store. Place a bead of glue around the bowl and then attach the beads. Once the glue is completely dry, I can pull the bowl out of the center. Now I picked up another smaller bowl at Dollar Tree. I am going to place this on the bottom of the wood round to create a pedestal. Now I'm going to grab a larger wood bead and just fill the holes with some air dry clay to create a solid round ball. Give it a coat of spray paint. With everything dry, I'm gluing the larger bead to the bottom of the glass bowl. Then I can just place this bowl right on top of that pedestal.
I had this area in the front of my house that I want to beautify, so I grabbed a bowl from the Dollar Tree and put it over to make sure it fits. Then I went to Home Depot and grabbed some spray foam. Next, what I'm going to do is put the bowl down on a garbage bag, and I'm going to grab the spray foam and start covering all the bowl up. And we're going to go layer over layer. Now, this took about 3 cans, but I want to make sure before I put the next layer on, that's a little bit dry to the touch. Once you get it on, you want to give it about 24 hours. The next step is we got to carve the foam. Now you're going to shape this all over. Next step, I'm going to pour some water into a bucket. I'm using Cemental. What we're going to do is mix it, but you want to be able to shape it and use it almost like a clay on top of the foam. Go ahead and just start adding it to the foam and just keep smoothing it on. For the second layer, I made it a little more runny. Just go ahead and smooth it in. If it looks a little rough, you can grab a chip brush, dip it in some water, and then you can start smoothing out the concrete that you put on. Now let it dry, and then I took some black paint, watered it down, and I'm going to add a little bit of color to the rock. So I'm going to add some brown to it also. You can go with any color you want. Now I'm ready to cover up the pipe that I want to have hidden.
Pick up 1 or 2 clear plastic bowls from Dollar Tree. Take a wood burning tool to create a hole in the bottom of the bowl. Take a light kit from Amazon and thread the socket through the hole. Make sure it's secure and add a light bulb.
Head to your local dollar store and pick up a clear plastic bowl, a metal flower vase, a floral foam square, and some faux flowers. Pull a wood candle lid from a used candle and remove the rubber ring. Spray paint this candle lid, the clear plastic bowl, and the metal flower vase. Use a strong adhesive and glue the candle lid to the bottom of the painted metal vase. Glue the painted bowl to the top of the candle lid. Give the entire footed pedestal bowl a light coat of white spray paint. Put some hot glue on the 4 corners of the square florist foam and glue it to the bottom of the bowl. Take pieces of faux greenery and stick them in and around the base. Next, take some bunches of faux flowers, stick the separated flowers into the florist foam. If you have any bare spots showing, fill those areas with a little green moss.
Check out these colorful bowls. You're going to turn it upside down. You're going to take that heat tool and just press down. And we're going to want to do that to a couple more of these. I'm just going to use this to trace. Start with one of the blue bowls and one of the clear ones. And I'm going to take some Gorilla Clear Grip. You're going to want to put this on and then let it sit. Make sure that you get this exactly right. One more blue bowl. Let that sit right there. You see how you can see the battery packs down at the base? I'm going to take some ivy. See how you can disguise that a little bit. Decided to add a few white poppies.
I got both of my bowls from the Dollar Tree. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're gonna glue them base to base. I'm gonna be using E6000 and I'm gonna be using my hot glue gun. So I'm gonna be using chalk paint, honeycomb, folk art craft paint. We're gonna be putting some baking soda in here. Mixed, we're gonna apply it to the bowl. All right, so we're gonna be using a stone colored Rust-Oleum textured finish paint. We are going to be grabbing about 4 of these candles from Dollar Tree. We are going to melt them. And I took the wicks out and I placed them where I wanted. I'm using skewers to secure it in place. I'm going to be adding my melted wax into this. And I'm actually going to be using a scented lavender.
First step is you're going to want to drill a hole for drainage, and I'm just going to drill straight into that hole in the middle. And then we're going to get our bigger bit, and I'm going to take a junk brush to bond with the bowl above it. I've got my first strand of beads. I'm just going to take these one line at a time and just snip off the extra beads. And I'm going to repeat this process. I've got the stone texture applied. Now it's time to go in with my black spray paint.
We are going to start with 7 of these bowls. You're also going to need some E6000. Just basically go around. You're going to place it on top. We're going to do this again. So I'm going to give these a little bit of time to cure. I'm going to be taking my E6000 and I'm going to go around the top of this, stack it on top, and we're going to do this one more time. I am using Dixie Belle Vintage Duck Egg Chalk Paint. So I'm actually going to use E6000 for this step. Line it up. And then we're gonna let that sit until it dries. and we are gonna trace around the inside of the hole that I created. You actually will not need to paint the underside, just the sides and the top. I'm gonna start with the bottom part, tilt that up. So we are going to take a solar light, placing it over, put the top part of our solar light, and it's gonna nestle right in. You're going to need some dollar store solar lights. Flip the bowl upside down, and we need to remove the label. Next, I'm gonna focus on the solar light. So we just take the stem off. We're not even gonna need that. You need to open up the solar light and pull out the tag so that the solar light works. Then you can place that back on, and this part is ready to be used. This will be the base of our project. What I'll be using for this project for weight are these dollar store rocks. So I'm gonna be placing them inside. For the next step, I'm gonna place the solar light in top like this. I'll go ahead and add a few more rocks to this. So what I'm gonna do is add a little dab of hot glue on each corner, like so. I'm gonna take that bowl and flip it upside down and place it right there on top so it's centered. So just to show you, if I remove this out, you can see here, I would be able to pull this off and replace this easily with another dollar store solar light if this burns out at some point. Run to Dollar Tree and pick up one large plastic bowl. Use a palette knife and drywall spackle to apply to the exterior of the bowl. Create a hole in the bottom of the bowl in the size of a light socket. Finish spackling around the hole. Add Dixie Belle's Slick and Stick to the inside of the bowl with a paintbrush. Take Modern Masters metallic gold paint, at least 2 layers. Sand the surface of the spackled exterior. Take Rub and Buff and buff into the surface of the bowl interior. Take a hanging light kit from Amazon, add a light bulb of choice,